2024 was a year of many fasts, but one of the key highlights of the year was in July when I got a chance to go to the land of the Red Dragon. I was in Beijing, y'all. And I was attending what is called the MDRT Conference, the $1 Million Roundtable. Lately my clients have been calling me one of my key partners, especially in life insurance. Sent out an email from the CEO to my clients telling them I am now a certified MDRT member. And my clients are calling me because of my friends are like, when did you become a dollar millionaire? That's not what it means. MDRT stands for $1 Million Roundtable, and it's an association. Basically, this is a conference bringing together the best of the topmost agents globally in one conference to learn, to network. It's all that goodness. And in 2024, at the conference in Beijing, you guys, I am telling you, Sanjay Tolani was like the keynote speaker. I was gone. So, but I know July felt like a high. Then come December, the highest of highs really hit. I would also say this episode is dedicated to my colleagues in the business and also my clients who are very curious, Ebu, tell us, Charlene, what is this MDRT? That now I can hear you're being called COT. I mean, isn't that my role as Mama Bima? I talk of being a passionate insurance educator. So today, how about we get to know what is this MDRT? What is this COT? Karibuni sana to today's episode. I'm yours truly, Mama Bima Kenya, a licensed insurance agent in the 254 and also a passionate insurance educator. December 23rd, I wake up. I had been tracking my numbers. Let me tell you, my fingers were crossed, especially in the last quarter of the year. In July, I had a really high of going to Beijing for the MDRT conference. And when I got to the MDRT conference, let me tell you, even when I qualified for MDRT in 2023, I had not really understood what being an MDRT kind of agent really was all about. I had not gotten the weight of this thing. So let me tell you, I'm always so excited, by the way, to go overseas. Maybe I'm those people. But then nimeacha kulia tu juzi. I would get into an aeroplane, I cry. When it takes off, it goes into the air. I would just ask myself, oh my God. You uko angani. Oh my God, and I don't even know why, but I don't get why I cry in my videos. Because it's not sad things, but I really love it when that plane just goes chap on the on the runway, and it just picks speed and then it takes off. I always remember the small girl in the village. Let me tell you, I grew up in a very, very sweet, sleepy village. I keep talking of my little village. It's called Kapuruge in Moranga. When we were kids, the only aeroplanes we would see were those, back then, aeroplanes would be in the sky and then you would see a trail of smoke following the aeroplanes. So when we would see that, we would always sing, Dege, Dekeria, Maroa, Magodi, Nairobi. In Spanglish, what that means is, aeroplane, drop me an invitation letter to go to Nairobi. Our dream in the village was to go to that place where aeroplanes go. And of course, that place was what? Nairobi. Every time I would get into an aeroplane and then it takes off, I would just remember that little girl. And then I would realize not only did I get the invitation to Nairobi, I'm even in the aeroplane. Okay, so now can we go back to happy stuff? I don't even know why I am still crying, and nobody even on this set is trying to give me even some tissue. But all is well. In July, it was exciting. We landed in Beijing. I was so excited to be in China. I just wanted to know, what will this be like? And then we went, we started the conference, day one of the conference. So I am one of those people. Mimi nitarauka, of course, with the rest of our team and representatives from Kenya. We were actually 6. agents in Kenya who had qualified for the MDRT. So we get now to the dome, where the conference was happening. In that dome, because I must say that this MDRT conference was company specific, like one of the largest life insurance companies in the world that also has a presence in Kenya had put together an MDRT conference for their agents from across the world. So like we had agents coming from, Vietnam, China, Hong Kong, Singapore, you name it. Like we had agents coming from Africa, in Zambia, literally the whole world was represented there. And we had an attendance of about 3,500 agents, like cream de la cream in their respective countries. So I get there and I see now where the dome, like the big hall where MDRT, now the conference, the main plenary hall, and I fight my way towards Hukombele because me, I'm one of those people. You tell me Sanjay Tolani will be one of the speakers, I want to have a front seat. Like I want to go and sit palembele. I just want, Sanjay's wisdom to just come to me through. Is it osmosis or diffusion? I think it's osmosis, Like sitaki ataipite kwa watu wengine, kuja tu direct to me. So I was amongst the very first people waiting now for the doors of the plenary hall to be open. And when the doors finally flung open, let me tell you, mbio. Of course, I'm trying to run forward, a front seat. Weh, shock on me. But then you get into that hall and you realize, but even this MDRC thing, it has strata. So at the very front, like those seats were reserved for a class of agents called TOT. Mimi hata nilikuwa najua TOT ni nani. Of course, I can see they have ribbons and it's marked TOT qualifiers. Then a few rows behind TOT, I realized those seats were reserved for COT. Hey, I'm wondering, kweli na mimi mtu wa MDRT tunakaa wapi? So of course, as we were now towards the end and the bleachers, and I think that was the first shocking thing that happened. And I was like, wait, what is this TOT? What is this TOT? You get? So during that conference, let me tell you, this was a career defining kind of conference. This was a life-changing, like the best, I would say the best international trip incentive I have ever been to. Like you are in that hall, you soak in to all the, with all the wisdom coming from all the amazing guests who are hitting that stage. During the days that we were there, I was just there doing my math and saying, okay, fine. I am truly grateful, that in 2023, I was able to qualify as MDRT. And remember, this was mid-year because it was already in July. But I told myself, next year, nikirudi MDRT conference, nirudi kama MDRT. Like, I have to come back as either a COT or a TOT. Okay, so you also have to realize, like, I am the Lulu. Like, the Lulu for me is the Solulu. Like I dream, and I dream big. So I took so many photos. I was just there taking photos on so there were like different booths, MDRT, COT, TOT. I was already so fixated on the COT booth. Okay, like I took so many photos on that one and I was just manifesting. I just felt like a dream had been already planted in my heart and in my head. And I kept just telling myself, God, please, when I go back home, please help me. Nikimbia helter skelter. Like I want to just get more Kenyans insured. But at the same time, I really want to see if I can take my insurance game to the next level and become a COT qualifier. By the way, for the purpose of those who do not know what COT means cut off table. TOT stands for top of table. Hello 2025. My Delulu self is back now that we conquered COT in 2024. 2025 sisi tunaomba Mungu atusaidia tufanye top of table. Ili tukua tunasema, even in Kenya, we have someone in the 1%, of insurance agents globally. My experience, at the MDRT conference, I was able to mingle with agents like from Singapore, kids who give you their story on how they got started. And you just feel the sheer drive, the hard work, until you come back and you're like, Aki, those agents are just on a different level of commitment, number one, to their craft, commitment to their clients. I entered some sessions where, like one lady who really stood out for me was an agent and a team leader from Singapore called Yugito. And she just took us through her system, like, of doing her business. And you just get to see how she does her sales, how she handles her clients, her client experience. And it was so mind-blowing when you see what other agents out there in the world are doing. I remember when Sanjay was addressing at the conference, and I realized, like, what had taken me all the way to China was a qualification as one-time MDRT. And Sanjay, in 2023, had done 1,200 times MDRT. But then you just sit there. Hey, you are like, where, dear Lord, mimi nakuomba. Because you're the God of all the good things in this world. Like, like, someone has done 1,200 times more than me. I still appreciate these are, one thing I love about Sanjay Tolani is that he's pretty much been our free teacher. Sanjay has just been teaching us on YouTube for years and years for free, and, third generation insurance agent. You can always feel his passion, like his passion for insurance, for protecting lives. And now just seeing him in person and him even taking us through like his clients, and he was talking of royalty, and you're thinking, what? MDRT just blew my mind so much. And I remember the last dinner in Beijing, we were treated by one of our agency leaders. She's amazing. Her name is Jane Tutu. And, Jane was asking us, like, what's your takeaway, from this trip? And I was just there. We were in a Japanese restaurant, and we were seated in this like sunken kind of room where our feet ilikuwa chini. I remember telling Jane, you know what? 2025, I'm coming back as a COT. Now, I am one of those people who like to put out either like my affirmations or my goals out there, because I believe Mungu anaskiza my goals, and also the world. I believe the world has a way of just colluding to ensure, and as long as you put in the hard work, the world has a way of also ensuring that, those goals, you actually get to hit them. December 2024, on the 23rd of Dec, oh my Lord, when I finally hit my COT qualification, I was so happy. And then that when I just cry kimandazi too. When finally it was announced, I had hit my COT qualification, like literally, Shiko, she had made history. First insurance agent to actually hit COT. Honestly, I am so grateful. For me, it speaks of the trust that my clients really given me. The opportunity, like this year when it comes to even life insurance sales, like my business grew so exponentially, like it's been unbelievable. And every time I just scrutinize, like, whom am I covering? I realize, like, these are very, very young Kenyans. Like, these are Kenyans whom we've just built our relationship, like, on social media. Oh, it feels so good. Because this was probably a demographic that before maybe wouldn't be very keen on life insurance. And I love it. Even if sort of like the ticket size bado ni kidogo, it's not like Sanjay who has the royal families as clientele. Like, these are my royalty. You get, like, that young mom in her 20s, that young dad in his 30s, like, those Kenyans in their 40s, and for the first time, they're taking a chance on taking like life insurance. They come in very skeptical, but then they're telling, Mama Bima, we've been following you for a year. You just keep posting. You're very consistent. We keep seeing posts on this. And you know what? I think finally we are ready to have a conversation with you on this. Like, it just feels so good. It reminds me that I'm really doing my work. That mission of getting more and more families, Kenyan families insured, securing their futures, ensuring that for the young children, their education is, secured even in the future. Income protection is done in families. Inheritance planning is sorted. Like, for me to be able to do that, because that is part of my job, but over and above that, realizing that you're really having a huge impact on so many families, in essence, as they support you and they give you the honor of being their agent, that also propels you, and gives you the opportunity to be in a conference, like in a room full of insurance agency royalty. Oh my Lord, what an honor. But I must tell you that journey, that I made in 2024, the commitment as I left Beijing and came back to Nairobi, and I was like, I need to run faster, okay? MDRT took me to Beijing, but wherever the next MDRT conference is, naenda kama COT, and just the joy of also crossing over to 2025, knowing that COT, we hit it in 2024. Sasa, can we make it TOT, top of table? In all honesty, this is honestly a qualification that I would advise a lot of, just my colleagues in the business to just aspire, just go to even the MDRT resources. They have so many resources, like on YouTube, on their website. Like, you aspire for excellence. You get to see our business in just a different frame, because you see hapa locally, bado like ni kidogo. When sometimes you see out there and you get to see how like young kids, like agents in their 20s, someone gives you their journey of how they started out as a 23-year-old struggling international student in Singapore, and how she has literally built an empire, like 8 years later, early 30s, but literally being like the topmost team leader and agent in Singapore. Just mind-blowing. She gives you the kind of schedule, like her commitment. You see, like the kind of activations we do here. Like, these kids tell you, like, when they were starting out in their career, they would do like door knocking. Like, can you imagine doing door knocking in the evenings? Like, you're moving from one apartment, you enter an apartment block, and you move from door to door, asking people if, you can have a conversation around insurance. Like, that was so mind-blowing. Yadi, I just felt, it humbles you so much. It lets you just see our career in such a different light. You get to see people, Yani, who are so, really, how would you say, like, their drive is just on another level. So for all my colleagues who are probably watching this, and would even want to have a chat, a chat on COT, it's probably something that I'm considering doing in 2025. I would actually like to host just a coffee with more, colleagues in the business who may want to learn just more about MDRT, COT, so that we start, by the way, pursuing this type of excellence. I like to also just sit down, and it's something that a coach whom I sat with last year in 2024 told me, because when we were speaking just about how I do my things, she really felt that, I ran, but I never really get time to really sit down, introspect, reflect. So I've really been working on that. And, as I reflect on the year that I had in 2024, that MDRT conference, incentive trip to Beijing, and also hitting my COT qualification in December of 2024, definitely one of the key highlights of the year that I had. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you for even getting to this last part of this video. You've had one of my songs from my childhood. Dege, Dekeria, Maroa, Magotie, Nairobi. But then we had told that young Charlene that one day, ataenda from side to side of this Nairobi, atazunguka in Nairobi hadi achoke. What? Oh my Lord. I think it just goes ahead to tell us, just trust the process. God is in control. He is in control, and He's the driver of this vehicle. So thank you so much for your time. It's always lovely hanging out with you. This episode, I would say, is a dedication to my colleagues in the business and to all my clients who have been like, wait, Charlene, did you become $1 million? Have you earned have you become $1 million what, a dollar millionaire, or what is this COT now we are hearing about. Always so happy to put together my stories, for you, because as I keep saying, a passionate insurance educator and a licensed insurance agent in the 254. Thank you so much for your time. And until next time, please remember to stay insured.